Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, James, the Fat Man Stevens, Ryan, who the hell is this, Preston, and the old guy.
Yeah, the old guy that never seems to get named.
Your enunciation sucks, John. It's Ryan, who the fuck is that?
And
you have to enunciate your words, John.
And I was going to say the Murta to our Riggs, the old guy, Robert Charney.
Yeah. No. Who's Robert? Only the DMV calls me Robert.
and your wife. I've heard
only when she's mad at me.
I've heard that a couple of times.
And that does happen.
And apparently Ryan's not doing the puff puff pass correctly. That's him coughing in the background.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, have another one for me, Ryan.
So, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I heard the bubbles.
No knowledge.
So the most interesting news.
God damn it, fucking John! That was an Easter egg for the listeners.
We have listeners. I guess we have two because I know them personally, and I bug the living crap out of one of them to listen every week. I do. I actually email her. It's like, hey, the show's up. Have you listened? Have you? I almost do it every day.
To that individual, I sincerely apologize on behalf of all of us.
She says she likes the show, so I'm not quite sure, if she's doing puff puff pass where you listen, which by the way probably is a really bad idea to be even remotely inebriated and listen to us talk. So most interesting piece of news I have seen all day, excluding anything political, Microsoft has announced a $7.5 billion, that's billion with a B, deal to acquire ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda Works and its Medi Studios. Those studios include Bethesda Game Studio, id Software, and behind some of the biggest video game franchises of all time, Doom, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and many more. This is massive. This could potentially make Elder Scrolls Xbox exclusive, which I think would be a very bad idea, personally.
Now the thing is about this is this really not like a conglomerate move? I mean, that's kind of what it seems to me, is like just what John just said. I mean, this kind of shuts down any gaming wars ever. I mean, they pick up Bethesda. Yeah. That is like the big franchise of all video games right there. So
I'm looking at it right now. So here's some of the games they have. It's Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Doom, Dishonored, and Prey. Prey originally was an Xbox exclusive. I don't know what is the last release. I have no idea. Doom's on all platforms.
Dishonored is one of my favorite games. That's, not just the normal Bethesda open world style. I mean, Dishonored is pretty badass.
So I'll be completely honest. I would be really surprised if they close-platformed any of these games, just because Microsoft's not stupid. However, I could see Microsoft making them first-party priority, basically saying Xbox gets it first, and then after, say, 6 months or so many period of time, PlayStation gets it. Now, the biggest question...
Bethesda is also big into PC as well, so I'm wondering what they're going to be doing with the PC rights.
Well, but Microsoft is still obviously very big in PC. They release most of their games PC first.
Oh, that's true. True.
So I don't think they would lean away from that, but they don't need to because they're also a conglomerate when it comes to PCs. But as far as the console wars go, I'm thinking that they might, I don't think they're going to make them exclusive, at least yet. I think that might be something that's sort of a future plan down the road, but not going to outright ban half of the fucking people or more even that play PlayStation from playing arguably the biggest games, especially from Elder Scrolls and the Fallout series. Aside from Bethesda, you have like maybe EA, especially with EA Sports, and Activision are going to be your other sort of top tier AAA title giving studios. And I mean, Microsoft essentially just took a third of the AAA title fucking throne.
I think one of the things you might run up to is this deal hasn't gone through. It actually says on the GameSpot article It's important to note that the deal hasn't officially gone through yet, although the process may be more formality than anything else.
So
I still think you have the government to worry about, but since the government has been in one of these giant checkmark approve all mega
they don't give a
mergers,
shit.
like they did the Disney Marvel
Disney
deal.
owns the world.
And Fox.
Disney
and
owns the world. Come on, what are we talking
And
about?
they did the
They're
Comcast
government.
and they did the Comcast Universal deal. So this possibly is already a done deal, but this is pretty big. I mean, it's Bethesda Studio, Softworks Game Studio, id Software, ZeniMax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Gun Games, Tango Works, Alpha Dog, and Roadhouse Studios.
Do you think this was their big move from shutting down Lionshead Studios, which they own? Microsoft owned it, and then shut it down. But they go and acquire Bethesda to make up for that lost revenue?
I think the Lions Head just wasn't producing enough. I honestly think
Fable was awesome,
but it's one game. It's one game that you're paying. I think what it was is it just that it wasn't producing enough. That was content that was actually worth the overhead. Now that they have this with multiple overhead, they could shift the Lionhead Studios stuff over to Bethesda or whoever. And it's be worth the initial investment.
Hey,
costs.
let's face it. Microsoft, for the most part, was caught napping when these all these gaming things were going on. Actually, if you go back to the internet, they completely missed it by 2 years, and so they're not known for being on the cutting edge when it comes to things like this. So this falls it just sounds just like typical Microsoft to me.
In all honesty, I think originally when Xbox came in, I thought they came into the perfect time. They came out when Nintendo's sun was waning, PlayStation was king, and they came out with the Xbox, the original Xbox, which was hands down more powerful than the PlayStation 2. I think they came in good. I think the problem is they're still, besides the 360, they've never really been the console king. And now that PlayStation
from the first one,
PlayStation has definitely geared towards we're for hardcore gaming, and Microsoft has their Xbox, which is, we're going to be everything to all people.
Yeah, that's
right. They were trying to be
me.
Yeah, I mean they were trying to be a piece of hardware that did everything for, those that weren't into computers. Hey, I could get this playing app and get on the internet and email people and play a game.
That's what the new Xbox is still kind of like. I mean, I don't think it has the ability to surf the internet like I think the One does.
So it's an appliance. So the reality is it's an appliance. And that's
versus a gaming system.
Exactly.
And that's why they always sort of won the console wars as far as Sony, not by a lot, but I mean, look, Microsoft came into the game late and still managed to make themselves, in some people's minds, seriously, the better console. I mean, I've always been an Xbox guy. I know the three of us have always, very much commiserated over fucking Xbox because, hey, I buy American, goddammit.
Sure. Racist.
But, aside from that, like this last time, I even said it to you guys, like it almost makes it worth it for me to, at the very least, talk my girlfriend into buying a PS5. But, make me pause and say, okay, how much really are they trying to buy my brand loyalty? Like, are you trying to re-up this contract I have with you of the brand loyalty? Because I want to be that brand loyal guy,
So I think,
but I want it to be worth it. And with PlayStation, really, if Microsoft took what they have, which is essentially a computer, that's what they've been, like Rob said, they've been trying to make the computer console for years and years now, since after the 360. But if they took all of that fucking processing power and all of those amazing cards and geared it literally just towards gaming, they would have, I believe, a superior console. But they want to be this. They want to whack the pie up into more slices, and it makes it not as like, hey, look, I just want to play games. Okay, I don't care about your streaming platforms and the way I can watch movies. Like, I got Netflix, motherfucker. Like, I don't need you.
Right.
I think, to be honest, though, I think for Microsoft, it's the better play if they have the gaming platform as good as the PlayStation, and I don't actually remember the hardware differences because usually it's not that much of a difference. So,
no, it's really not.
So Sony really, has a movie studio. They have appliances. They have a lot of stuff that they can sell versus Microsoft is basically a software company that now does some hardware. So I think doing a platform is the only way that I think they can be even remotely in the conversation. Now they lose money. They've always lost money on the Xbox. They've never, I think the 360, and this could be wrong, is the only console they've ever made any money on. Everything's, it's a loss leader to sell content is really what it is.
Yeah, but they're so good at the content, dude. Their backwards compatibility. I mean, look, obviously we're talking about them selling old games back to me, but it's one of the things that I appreciate about it is they basically make such a huge part of their library available. Just like, hey, remember that thing you played when you were 13? You want to play it right now?
Well,
I'm like, yes, Xbox, I do want to play that game right now.
Well, it's even better than that, in my opinion. Like, all my Xbox games that I liked, and it's through the original, the 360, and the One, I still own. All the games I actually enjoyed, I still have.
Yeah.
Now, you can play, and from everything I've read, all those games I have, minus some, will still work on the new one, and in theory, it'll be revved up a little bit to play 4K.
But you know what? That's the thing is, even if it's not, let's say, compatible with the disc itself, okay, which it should be, for $15, any of those old titles, literally, I was just going through the list yesterday. For any of those titles, you can buy, digitally download in about 9 minutes because they're so small compared to what's available now. And it's so worth it for just the compulsory, like, oh shit, I haven't played Call of Duty in 15 years. Of course I'll drop $10 on that right now, whatever it is.
And Perfect Dark was for me.
And they also,
dude, I still play Perfect Dark, dude. I just got done playing Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Yes, they have Wolfenstein.
I want Wolfenstein.
I don't think they have the one that my dad's talking about.
The one that's for like straight up MS DOS. I don't think so.
Wolfenstein 3D.
I had that one too.
Good.
I do think. Now I'm thinking about. There's a couple of different things. I mean, sorry, I have a lot in my mind on this. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
The benefit, though, I think of the Xbox over the PlayStation is they basically said 1, 2, and 3 games are not compatible, so you only got 4. 3 I can understand because it uses the cell processor. Then that may require actually rejiggering some games or having an emulation layer if possible, which would cause some major headaches, possibly slowing down the system. I don't know. I still think I've always been an Xbox fan. Maybe it's because I started out as a PC guy and I've always kind of supported the PC realm. Plus the fact Microsoft has Azure. They have a massive cloud background that this Xbox is actually using, which Sony, as far as I know, Sony does not have the cloud computing background. That's what Microsoft does right now is cloud computing.
Yeah.
So,
well,
the biggest thing for me is the controllers.
Yeah,
now,
I've always been you and me, bro.
If you started out playing on the Xbox controllers, and
Duke
then you try to
switch
and play on PS controllers, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it
for
feels
some reason
dinky.
it's just
the button layout's weird. I don't like the joysticks where those are oriented. The Xbox, especially the original, that's big, nice, beefy. You felt like you were holding on to this thing you had some control over, not this dainty.
So who's doing the
and
dishes?
You kill somebody with those controllers?
Who's doing the dishes? It sounds like somebody's doing dishes while they're on the conversation. Are you somebody over a sink there?
No.
Yeah, we are getting so many sounds.
We're getting some feedback. What were you going to say, Rob?
All right.
Well, so what the few major gamers I know, including a professional gamer, they have both.
Sure.
All right, and so in some respects, maybe that's unusual, right? I mean, you guys don't have both, do you?
No.
Listen,
If you're
right now.
Gamer,
inside of my living room, I have a Nintendo 64, a Wii, an Xbox One X, a PlayStation 4, and an Oculus Quest.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry, and a Sony.
So you're
Sony
a major gamer. So you've got and
I'm a recreational gamer, but I just love nostalgia.
Well, okay, but I think my point is there's many people out there like you, and so. Much. People are going to have both. So the point is, who's going to win?
Nintendo. That's what I was going for.
Yeah. So who's going to have, who's going to have both or more or whatever? I mean, a lot of gamers are. So
yeah. I also think what it comes down to, honestly, is what titles do you want? Now, some titles are first party priority towards Sony, so they're gonna take a while to trickle down. Some titles are strictly Sony. I think it just comes down to what you want. Like if you're a Halo fan, you'll never get Halo ever on the Sony. Period. Yeah. It will never happen because Microsoft
does it exist.
No, but Microsoft is the sole owner of that title under 343 Industries. I mean, they made their own studio specifically for Halo. So it just comes down to what you want. There's not a whole lot of differences. I mean, the controllers, the differences, the hardwares are semi the same.
And you could even get an Xbox controller style and port it directly to your PlayStation. So that argument, unfortunately, is a little bit out the window.
I disagree with that because those third parties, I've never had a third party controller that has first party build quality.
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're taking a loss, but at the same time, if you're after just the feel, you can do it, and it's going to have different functionality because the PlayStation controller has that.
Why would you go into the business of making third-party products and start out right off the bat saying, I'm not going to make them better than the existing one?
I wish I understood that. I've never understood that.
I don't understand it either.
Doesn't make any sense.
Everyone I've ever had down to like the original Nintendo, they've all been funky. Like I remember I had a couple for the N64 that just felt like I was playing like this, like remember those toys you used to get in those bubblegum machines you drop in a quarter twirl thing? They felt like that. They had the build quality of one of those.
Do we see that improving? Because was that a price leader thing? So you go to Walmart and you need to replace your controller for some reason because you're stepped on it or whatever and it's not working, and hey, I can't afford the OEM price, so I'm going to buy this third-party piece of junk, but it'll get me by.
I don't know. I've never bought it. Other than
I've definitely done that a lot of times, and it's exactly like you described. You know,
there was one. The old guy reminded me of the Wave controller for the GameCube. I think there were a wireless controller, and because I remember because I worked at Hollywood Video at the time when that came out, or one of those things came out.
God, you're dating yourself.
And I remember everybody raving about this, how it was a third-party controller, but it was the controller to have.
Yeah.
Well, that was just because the GameCube controller sucked.
Well, there you go.
I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I've held a GameCube controller, but
easy to do better than that one, right?
And Microsoft also
the Dreamcast. Dreamcast was the worst controller that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with you there. That was a pretty bad one.
I mean, okay, save like the Nintendo Power Glove. But that's an extreme example.
We're not gonna talk about that one.
The Power Glove was pie in the sky. Let's be honest. That technology wasn't even remotely available when that came out. So let's call it what it is. That was hardcore pie in the sky.
Man, the commercial was awesome though.
Yeah, I loved that movie.
Yeah, that thing was badass. False advertising, but whatever.
Yeah,
so all right. So I'm going to switch topics on us here now, since this seems to be it. Did anybody know that there was an attack on the White House?
Yes.
Define attack.
All right. So I'm going to say attack by the fact that ricin, which is a very toxic poison,
and no cure for,
was mailed.
Whatever you're about to say is crazy.
Was mailed to the White House.
Really?
Yep. And the woman suspected of sending such envelope was trying to flee the country and was intercepted as she was trying to cross into Canada.
Wow.
So
is she a U.S. citizen? Do you know anything about her? Because that's sedition charges.
They're not giving details yet. I mean, this is obviously a highly okay. It's a sensitive topic within the circle that protects the president. So a lot of the information is just now coming out. But what I'm trying to understand a little bit is how has that not been the top lead in all the major news organizations throughout the country?
I can't believe that. When I don't know when
I have 2 words for you.
Broke it all. How am I just hearing about
2 words for you?
So
fake news.
So it actually the news broke on Saturday. I actually heard about it on Saturday, with more information coming out yesterday and today, they got a lot more information because they caught the woman. Actually, I should say kudos to our Canadian cousins because they were the ones that actually caught her.
Thank you, eh?
And anyway,
Sorry.
I think my
Sorry.
point. So the poison never got to the White House. They caught it before. If you don't know how the mail works at the White House, it actually gets sent to a building that isn't anywhere near the White House first, and everything's sorted and looked through, and they have all the tests and everything, and they obviously caught it.
And if you, as just your average person, didn't realize that was the case, you could have probably inferred something like that.
It's probably
we're probably talking about somebody who's crazy, but I mean, I know ricin can be sort of easily manufactured.
Well,
but, I mean,
it can be manufactured easily is the question. I mean, it can be if you know what you're doing. I mean, all you have to do is have basic high school chemistry in your head, and you can probably do
but I mean,
right?
that's a pretty serious plot. But you know what I was just thinking when you said this? How many times I've thought of like the guys that, let's say the gate guard at like NORAD or fucking Fort Knox or the front door of the White House. How many times those guys are thinking like, wow, what a nothing gig this is. Nothing is ever going to happen. Nobody is ever going to be stupid enough to charge the gates of NORAD. I'm here just for show, and that's it. The mail room of the White House had to be thinking the same thing. Like, you know what? Nothing ever comes through here. I'm just going through the fucking motions, and all of a sudden the machine starts beeping. You know what I mean? You're like, oh crap. This is no joke anymore. Like all of a sudden I'm needed.
That's funny. That's funny you mentioned that. I remember a couple of months ago when there was a riot in front of the DC in front of the White House. You started hearing trickle down reports how there's snipers, like they placed snipers all over the Washington White House area, and there were like it was funny. It's like the first time you started hearing like kind of how many military people in the White House, and you heard some guy say on the news report, lethal force is authorized. And you started hearing people go, hey gentlemen, maybe it's not such a good idea that we jump over the gates of the White House. And because this was on conservative news media and I didn't hear it anywhere else, but it made me laugh. The fact that you guys really think the reason why nothing ever happens in the White House because it's, I don't know, the most heavily guarded place in the United States. I mean, all of Washington, D.C. is a no-fly zone unless authorized.
Yeah. And it sucks because the guy at the gate or whatever it is, the high-value target kind of position, it's not like you can get the 60-year-old retiree to stand there. You have to get a guy that's young and in good shape because the image is part of the deterrent, right? But that guy's got to be thinking like, you know what? I could be out actually doing some shit. I can be doing anything. I'm just standing here. No one's ever going to come near this door.
Well,
all I'm doing is going to stand here for the rest of my life.
That's probably true for anybody that's ever stood at a station, whatever it may be. If it's military, private, law enforcement, it doesn't matter what it is. And you've just been sitting there all day long and nothing comes by your way. Yeah, probably.
But at least in a lot of places, you might have this idea that, hey, you know what? Something could happen here. Like, you know what? It's not unlikely that people come at me where I'm guarding currently. But the White House is like nothing is ever going to happen.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So being in the Secret Service actual uniformed police division is a badge of honor because you are one of the better of the better, or the best of the best, however you want to say it.
But not being used for what you could be, you know, like I could be doing more.
So this wasn't exactly John Malkovich and in the line of fire type of person, you know. I don't think this person thought too far ahead, and so they were clever enough to, hey, I got ricin, and then like, wait a minute, I know, let's send it to the White House. I mean, they may have had an easier job sending it to the Speaker of the House than the White House.
Well, I mean, leaving the country and doing so sort of as you're kind of aware that, like, okay, this is going to get to the White House tomorrow. I've got to start bailing right now. I mean, that's you had intentions of that working kind of thing.
So the last time this happened was in 2018 when a Navy veteran actually got arrested. And again, you didn't hear much about it, for mailing ricin to Trump. And actually it had, Mr. President Trump. Yeah, here we've got some powder for you to inhale.
So I guess one question is this isn't exactly like a Russia you know, you have Putin poisoning a Confederate. How are these guys not? And I honestly mean it. These guys are they not professionals? Are they getting bribed by somebody? Because
I don't know. I think you've got to have some mental issues going on in your head to think that you're going to be able to get this past whatever filter there may be, right? And
these guys
if I'm a Russian spy, that's kind of might be the person that I'm looking for.
Well, I mean, this is like the, you know, like you kept hearing when Obama got elected, you kept hearing in the news media, oh, the Ku Klux Klan is going to kill Obama. And I'm like, that is never going to happen. I mean, the car he drives in is a fucking tank. The White House is beyond secure. And like in an episode of Jay Leno on one of the Top Gear, Jay Leno, one of the guys asked him about having Barack Obama on, and he said every cell phone within 60-mile radius of the president is listened to. So yeah. I don't know how any of these people actually think they're gonna, and unless they're gonna like poison his McDonald's hamburgers, I'm not exactly sure how you're gonna get at Trump.
Well, you know,
it's simple. Is the person who isn't just aware by nothing more than osmosis that's never going to get through because there has to be checks. The person who doesn't think about that is crazy.
Yeah.
So this guy has to be this person has to be touched, or it's one of those deals like I've heard say if this person is Chinese and China will go to this person and say, hey, if you don't do this, your relative over here in insert China state here is going to have some issues.
Well, you know, and the other thing is you're not going to be able to poison the president. Here? But you're not going to be able to poison the president by food because in many respects, in some way, the president has a food taster. All the food comes out of the White House that he eats, even when he goes internationally. And he doesn't just pick up a cup of water that's, you know, by sitting by Putin, because who knows, you might have some kind of nerve agent in that since he's known to use that.
I'll be honest, when it comes to this current president, it'd probably be better just to wait for him to have a heart attack, the way the story I've heard him eating. I just think it's pretty ballsy just to try to kill any world leader with the amount of security and technology.
Unless you're
available.
Another world leader.
Yeah.
Because Putin could probably get it done.
This is true.
Yeah, he wouldn't have tried it that way.
No, he wouldn't have.
Or
it would have been a lot
Merkel.
more credible of a threat.
Well, kind of like he did to that
one reporter guy. Yeah.
So
he's done that to a few guys, reporter people and whatnot.
But he goes with a nerve agent. I mean, he goes right for the nuclear option.
Unless you're a doctor, you have a tendency to fall out windows. I don't know. I just
keep those things closed.
I mean, I think the last president that anybody ever had a chance of killing was successful. It was JFK. After that, they don't ride in open limousines. They don't. They change. Like in the movie In Line of Fire, you saw the president come up and come through the tables. They don't do that. There's like a velvet rope line with security. And
well,
I don't know how
no overhead sight lines for the president ever.
Yeah, these are some of the smartest people in the world coming to like level of protection. The fact that this person even thought you could do that is kind of amusing. And then flee to Canada.
Well, hey, apparently she had some kind of relationship going on with RMC.
Wouldn't it have been better to drive to Mexico? Because Mexico is not exactly our biggest fan.
Well, we're going to find out more about this, but I think my biggest point about this whole story is that anybody hear it? I'm looking at it. Yeah, there's my point. I'm going. It was the most covered up, quiet thing I've heard, and if it. Trump, you think Trump would be out there tweeting it the minute he heard about it?
Survived an assassination attempt.
Probably said, Biden tried to poison me.
So let's throw a pool together. What country do you think this person's going to free? I'm going to say this person's probably Chinese or has a relationship with China somehow.
Oh, great! Now we're going to get up with China.
What's fucked up is that all I thought was a Karen. This sounds like some Karen-ass shit to do.
Okay, that's hilarious. By the way, if it was really just a Karen, that right there that's the number one spot. Nobody's going to top it. That Karen. She was pissed off. Sure. She was so pissed off. She found ricin and mailed it to Trump. Holy shit!
That's Karen for you.
That's
man.
where I'm at.
So reading more into the story
on this one.
The letter actually originated in Canada. So this person was a Canadian wants to get rid of Trump. That's pretty funny.
So
I'm sorry.
They mailed it international?
I guess so.
Wait, they mailed ricin internationally?
Well, I mean,
Is that possible?
From Canada, United States, I don't know how international it is. They walked across a border, but
That's true.
That's a damn wow. So I still think this person's probably Chinese. I don't think they're Canadian because, well, not all Canadians are nice because I've met a few that were kind of dickish.
that's true. I have too.
So that's could be
They were French Canadians.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got that right.
or they're from Paris. I've met a couple of people who were Parisians were assholes.
I don't want to. I mean, we might have a listener from France, so I don't want to lump them all together.
Well, so let's be honest. So I've actually talked to French people, and I said, yeah, I went to Paris, and they're kind of dicks, and like their
all
comment was, they're
agreed.
like, yeah, Parisians are kind of special.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going any new territory there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take fucking responsibility for what people in like Kentucky do. Like, hey man, that's Kentucky, bro.
That's right.
They're playing to a fucking beat of their own drum over there.
Banjos.
Kentuckians.
It's
Well,
banjos. Lots of banjos.
Florida, like I'm not gonna own
Okay.
Florida as an American.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's where you're going to retire, Ryan.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Everybody says, they want to retire to Florida, but, you want to go to some place that gets blown away every couple of years by a hurricane.
I think that was
They have a death wish.
retire in Florida is straight up East Coast shit. I think that's people who lived in minus 40 degree winters way
snowbirds.
too long, and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to a place where it never snows.
Exactly. They're snowbirds. They're getting the heck out of all the snow, and they go to Florida.
Yeah.
So,
And for a lot of New Yorkers, California is just off the list. So Florida, they just get to own Florida.
So
it's like the people living in Tornado Alley, and you meet them wherever they may be. You meet them and say, hey, we're from California, and they go, gosh, aren't you worried about the earthquakes? And it's like
every freaking time.
Every time it's
And
like
the conversation I've had with these people, I told them we do not have such a thing as earthquake season. You have tornado season. You're insane.
the closest thing we have in Northern California is fire season.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So,
But it's
And
kind
that's
of
only in the past 20 years.
and that's easily to get away from. Oh, fire, move. It's not like it just goes.
let me put earthquakes in perspective. Okay, for those out of our area.
that's right.
3 days ago, at about 12:30 at night, there was a 4.8 or 4.9. I'm not going to look it up, but it was between 4.8 and let's say 5.1, somewhere right in that region. Earthquake epicenter about, let's see, as the crow flies, I'm gonna go with about 11 miles from here.
Okay.
So you got a nice little jolt.
11 miles.
You don't wake up.
That's a 2-hour drive.
Let's say it was about 4 to 5 seconds long. It wakes me up. I lift my head up off the pillow. My girlfriend's in the other room watching Gilmore Girls or something. I listened to see if she said, hey, I'm trapped under rubble. She didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I went back to sleep.
Yeah.
My head rose off the pillow about 11 inches. That was my reaction to like a fiver.
Hey,
which is not really a.
when you live in Southern
that'll
California,
wake you up.
yeah, I got totally used to that. I mean, it was it's just no big deal. I mean, other than the few big ones.
So you
there was the 94 quake down here in Northridge, which is about 40 miles, but that was a good 6.5.
So do you guys
6.6, something like that, and that fucking went on for a minute.
Yeah,
that got me up.
So you guys remember the movie Independence Day?
Yeah.
So there's a scene at the beginning of the movie with Will Smith and his girlfriend in the movie. The spaceship starts going on. There's an earthquake, and there's a comment about, and it's not even a 5.0. Go back to bed.
Exactly.
I did want to ask Ryan. Hey, Ryan, did you see the movie for the trailer for the new Dune movie?
You know what? My dad tried to get me to watch Dune when I was a kid. I might have been maybe 12, 13. I don't know if it was just my age.
I wanted his opinion on the new trailer.
You're not going to get it.
Nope.
No, I just was wondering because this was
just not a
I
fucking
can see
fan.
it already. It's not going to happen.
I didn't get into Dune.
Well, this
and
was
then I saw the trailer for this new one, and I'm like, the fuck is this? This kind of looks like some gangster ass shit right here.
See, the reason why I asked,
he did see it.
The reason why I asked Ryan is because this was the one that he wanted. That whenever we did the first Dune, he was waiting for. He was hearing rumors about this particular version a number of years ago. So this is the reason why I was wondering, because this is by that French director,
Luc Besson.
Something Villeneuve. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. So what did you think?
I thought it looked incredible. Now I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know. It could have just been me being a kind of a petulant asshole when in my youth and I couldn't get into it. But I liked sci-fi. I liked fantasy, and so I figured that would have been up my alley, and it just wasn't.
So Dune is dry. It's a very dry sci-fi. I've read the books.
It's a very dry planet.
I got a bit with John that the best part of this whole new movie coming out is just the trailer.
I disagree, but we'll see.
See, we got a bet.
I mean, you know what?
I mean, how many movies have you got
they,
seen where the best part's the trailer? Come on.
Recently, not very many.
There's ways to do drama. I think that there's a way to tell that particular story and have it be kind of, let those moments hang and let the relationship sort of be the key storyteller and those sorts of things. And they can kind of pepper in that big worm shit, you know what I mean, in the desert and those sorts of things. But if they do it anywhere near like the old one where it was just this sort of complicated merchant sort of story,
so
that's what I recall of it.
Which one? Are you talking about David Lynch's version, or are you talking about the Sci-Fi Channel? The only reason why
I'm talking about the David Lynch version.
Okay, because the David Lynch is the one that had that constant and eternal monologue that you guys hated.
Oh, I think that is the one I'm talking about.
So I have to admit, like I'm a big fan of Dune. I'm a big fan of Dune, but it's a very dry book. You have to like very dry sci-fi.
More than dry.
I'll be 100% on it. It's not for everybody, but you were the one who was waiting for this version, so I was kind of wondering what you thought. So your opinion of it, at least for the trailer, is kind of what I was expecting. Just kind of it looks interesting.
Honestly, I think that I was interested in seeing a remake of it just to see if it was just like me or was a super dated movie or something like that, because it really fucking beat me over the head with the 80s too.
It's honestly, it's the book more than it really is the book more than the movies. Because the sci-fi version is pretty damn near close to the book, and it's still dry. It's just particularly Frank Herbert's writing style.
Somebody could have done a better job with the script than just copying the book.
And that's verbatim. What I think. Yeah, they would have an opportunity to do now and recognize, okay, hey, we've kind of learned a thing or two about filmmaking and storytelling since then.
I guess the question is, what does the rights give them? Because it could be, depending on how narrow the rights are.
Somebody always has the right to screen script. So I mean, and who owns the rights to the whole Doom series now anyway? His family?
I think so.
Or a major corporation, maybe.
I don't know. See, the difference is
it's based off of one novel. I can't imagine. No, there's you don't have rights to half the book.
There's a bunch of them. Some of them were written by Frank Herbert. I think one or two.
I thought he had three. I thought he had a.
It might have been three.
It might have been. I don't know.
But there's more of them that was written by his son and somebody else. They're about as dry. I've heard a lot of people say, fans of his, saying only his books were as good.
Yeah.
But you have to like dry sci-fi, and it's just like.
But in this day and age, who likes dry sci-fi? John holds his hand up. For those of you who don't have television.
But at the same time, I mean, this is the age when they turned the Star Trek movie into a Star Wars movie, basically. So
when something's done right, why stop?
Right, and they can do that same thing to do and tell the same story in this different dynamic way, and it might be okay.
Absolutely. This is where I disagree. They haven't made a good Star Wars movie since the 70s. So
have you guys watched The Mandalorian?
I'm a new one apologist, and fucking Mandalorian might be one of the coolest things on TV right now.
Absolutely, I love Mandalorian.
If it makes you feel better, they're possibly firing The Mandalorian.
Season 2's coming. So.
The guy who plays him was kind of complaining that he wasn't getting screen time. So the Mandalorian, the story I've heard is the Mandalorian may be exiting the Mandalorian.
The guy that's in the suit who wears the helmet, you don't see his face, so anybody can play him.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they were saying. Is the guy who's in there is never actually in there.
Right.
So the headline was the Mandalorian may no longer be in the Mandalorian.
He does the voiceover stuff, and so and you got to remember they're kind of a cult.
See, the thing so
they could easily replace him.
Well, the thing I don't understand is why didn't they get somebody who does ADR for anime or something like that? Because these people who do that stuff have an amazing like different voices and a range they can do. Like Tara Strong, if you ever see the stuff she does a ton of cartoons. They could have easily found somebody better.
I can't believe that. Is it Oscar Isaac or no? Paul, what the fuck is his name? Mandalorian.
You're asking the wrong person. I've seen it, but I don't
know.
I
can't think of his name.
I know
I
who he
apologize because I really like that.
Yeah, he
dude.
should be.
I can't stop thinking Pablo Escobar.
That's because
that would be funny.
In the Cocaine Guys, dude. He was the one who played in the drug series about Pablo Escobar.
Pedro.
Narcos. He was the cop. I want to say
Pedro Pascal.
That's it. That's it. Right.
Yeah.
Last name is Pascal.
Okay. Right.
I can't believe that he'd be complaining about such a cushy fucking gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding. Huh?
Like, dude, you're getting top billing. Your voice is all over it. You got easy days. This is a working gig. You're getting that Disney coin, and you don't have to do a whole lot.
So maybe he's worried about the visual part of it versus, like some people who do a lot of cartoons, you couldn't, or a lot of voice acting.
You know what? He's getting a friggin' paycheck and a good one to boot. Shut the heck up.
And not to mention, dude, you had to have known. This is why I'm almost in a little bit of disbelief. It might be disingenuous reporting, because you would have known going into that. If I told you the script of fucking Mandalorian, I said, okay, you're going to play the key role. Would I have to explain to you that guess what? We're probably not going to show your face.
Yeah.
I mean, like I would bring it up.
There's the problem.
Like, hey,
maybe,
by the way, you're not going to really be on screen a lot.
You brought up a good point. Maybe this guy never bothered to watch the movies and has no idea what the character is before he walked into it.
Well, he had to have been told what the role entailed, and they would have told him, he would have read, by the way, this is the character.
If he didn't know Boba Fett, he would have written a script. He would have read the script and said, I take my helmet off, because in it they're saying, okay, he walks 12 paces, takes his helmet off. He doesn't understand that the scene cuts away from the fact that they don't show his head.
They're not
right. And so maybe he thought he was going to get more. I don't know.
So here's
they've
hold on
only
real
done
quick.
the one season, and they slow played showing his face in the first place. I think now second season they're going to get a lot more of that face in there because we've seen it. They were burying the lead in the first one.
So this is from the Sun.com, so Sun US. It says the Game of Thrones actors who plays the title or character of the Disney Plus series, which returns for a second season next month. However, insider Grace Randolph has now claimed Pedro, 45, has became difficult on set while filming the new series.
Oh, of course.
His bone of contention was reportedly his desire to have some scenes without his mask, which for Mandalorians don't take off in front of other people. According to We Got This Covered, she claimed, while filming Season 2, Pedro Pascal wanted to have some key scenes with his helmet off. The Mandalorian creative team wouldn't budge on this, so Pedro Pascal, from what I've heard from two sources, now frustrated about this and also was pretty darn uncomfortable in the suit on the set, so he became difficult. Which, by the way, if you've seen the original Boba Fett costume and the shit that the original Star Wars actors were in, most of them were uncomfortable. Ask the motherfucker who played C-3PO.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, he liked it
Anthony
anyway.
Daniels.
Nope, that's because he was rail like heroin chic, and you can't see through the C-3PO's
I just
eyes.
saw an interview with him not too long ago.
Probably an R2-D2.
He really loved it.
Oh yeah, no, you loved it.
Loved it.
But
He really did.
It was very uncomfortable though.
Well, but so you get used to it for you get a nice fat paycheck. Just take
But
it.
yeah, I mean, look,
come on.
all of this stuff about Pedro Pascal could be simply that guy having a bad week. You know what I mean? Hey, man, I had a rough one on set, and I was just kind of voicing my frustrations here.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be back to normal. Somehow I doubt dude's going to leave the show over creative differences like that,
Well, Jon Favreau hasn't complained. There hasn't been any major stuff from what I just read, have actually come out. But I could see it if you're an actor and you're basically your whole thing is your physical presence. I could see wanting a little couple extra scenes with your face in it. But on the other hand, this is Disney and this is Star Wars, this is one of the biggest franchises in all time, right next to Aliens and Star Trek. It's probably one of the biggest franchises in the history of cinema. The dude can get over himself.
And they're really trying to curate the new canon as best they possible without having those sort of gaps in continuity and things like that. So, but I understand that, like, hey man, maybe we can get a couple more alone scenes or figure out a reason why my mask would be off in front of somebody, kind of thing.
So have you seen so is it 7, 8, 9? Have you seen all the new ones?
The movies? Yeah.
Yeah, new. So I've heard, and I don't know how much is true because I I can't really trust you see on the internet. Disney's trying to figure out how do you fix the 7, 8, and 9.
How do you?
Because apparently some people feel that it pretty much just killed Star Wars.
Well, I don't think there's any way to fix it, and people have said that about like all the other ones before. Generally.
Well, so what do you think? Because I haven't had a chance to see him. Does it actually kill? It ends, spoiler alert, it kills the Skywalker.
What do you mean you haven't had a chance to see him?
Dude, I'm fucking really
He
busy.
doesn't want to watch them.
Oh, I don't have time.
I just heard I don't want to watch those movies.
No, I literally just don't have time.
Blah, blah,
No,
blah.
if you wanted to watch them, you would have watched them, John.
Dude, I've just recently seen stuff that came out 4 years ago. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Stop arguing about truth.
It's not real flicks reviews anymore, guys.
So
you keep living with
move
your
on.
alternate facts.
So the question is because the Skywalker saga has ended, and so so do you think that they can continue after this, or do you think the last couple of movies screwed up the series?
It didn't screw up the series, but it ended the series. It ended the Star Wars, as we know it, sort of saga. But I mean, dude, how much canon is for them to draw off of? I mean, I know they're going with their own thing, but they have so much lore and so much universe to explore that you get to do things like The Mandalorian or the ill-fated Solo, which was not a great movie.
Well, the biggest issue is if you're going to go by the original canon, is most of it involves one of the three. So I guess that's the question is, they would basically have to start off from scratch, which is fine, but...
No.
You know what? If you took the movies as entertainment, as I did, I'm not sitting here picking it apart like you guys did, but if I took it as entertainment and I watched them, I loved them all, including Solo, just because I'm a fan of that. And I think
I'm with you, Rob.
Right? And they opened the door to a whole new episode of possibly Jedis and everything else going on forward here, and I really thought opened it right.
But I'm just
I don't think they need to fix anything. I think they just need to move forward.
I think you're coming from most people's point of view, but I'm trying to come from the Star Wars fans' point of view. Who some are.
You're not a Star Wars fan.
I am a Star Wars fan.
You're not into the lore of Star Wars. You're not into
dressing up and going to Comic-Con. No, I don't.
The uber Star Wars fan, because it's like anything. The loudest 10% are usually the loudest and smallest, but they're the biggest fans.
You don't want to be old Rob Kenobi?
I'll take it, man. If they rip me apart, I'll be in it.
So I'm because they're the ones I see complaining. I don't see anybody else complaining. It's the people who are into the lore, into all that.
Isn't that true with everything?
Yeah.
It is. It absolutely is. Look, when you change anything from somebody's childhood, they're gonna get possessive about it. Okay, and look, I understand. I come from the same place. I would have rather have seen, the three kids that Han and Leia had versus them sort of being like this amalgamation character with Kylo Ren. I would have loved to have seen, the Luke Skywalker extended sort of saga and all of those things. The original Jedi, Old Republic, but I get that they have this kind of template to work with now, and they get to kind of fill in the gaps how they want. Like Rob said, I'm very much an apologist for 7, 8, 9. I'll defend those movies as simply entertainment, and you know what? It's always told a story. Star Wars was never about the legit, this is how space works, or the morality tales of Star Trek. It was telling this overarching story, this obvious Jesus tale. And it told that story well, as far as I was concerned. Yeah, it played a little bit of fan, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but fan service. Paid some fan service with 7, 8, and 9 of like, hey, remember the first 3 movies? Hey, remember the first 3 movies? Hey, remember the first 3 movies?
Right.
Yeah, I remember. And look, but I do remember. And I do like seeing those things again. I like seeing the fucking Millennium Falcon do those maneuvers that I grew to love when I was fucking 10 years old, So I can get over those things. The stuff that they changed didn't, to me, affect the story. Look, even if they didn't change anything, the person playing Princess Leia fucking died. What do you do now? You've got to change things. You've got to adapt.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the biggest problem they're going to have is, and I don't know how much, I just see this in the stuff I've read online, is the loudest 10% can absolutely destroy a series. But
they're also going to get over it, and they're going to have kids who are going to like it despite them bitching about it.
I would have to disagree to some extent. Some fans never get over it. Just the question is it enough to hurt the franchise? I don't think it is, because if it's Disney doesn't actually care about what fans really think.
No, because they have China, and they have everybody else who's not that 10%.
I think, exactly, and that's the other issue, isn't it? It's a worldwide release, so it's not just the fan base here. Absolutely. Look at what it must be in China. I mean, they're just probably seeing like number 3.
Too bad the people
right now, right?
Too bad the people where they filmed some of the stuff can't actually see their content
Anyway, I mean, I think we have to remember something, that all good things come to an end. And that could possibly be in the horizon for Star Wars as well. Who knows?
So,
I mean,
I'm curious.
So speaking of all that fan, television and all that crap. So have any of you guys watched the Cobra Kai yet?
I saw the first couple episodes when it first came out.
I'm not even remotely interested in that.
I couldn't do it.
It looks so stupid.
I actually liked it.
Did you watch? Oh, you watched it, huh? I
watched both seasons.
Oh, okay.
And the thing I liked about it was
glad you liked it.
I really enjoyed the role switch.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I know. I saw the first couple episodes. And
so the
Danny
bad guy
Russo
becomes the good guy, and he, his life has been changed, and blah.
Well,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
well, not necessarily. It's basically Danny Russo becomes like this really inflated, ego-driven,
sleazy
car salesman dude.
Yeah,
and the guy that he beat at the end at
I
the
sold
All Valley.
cars. Watch out, man.
And,
I was a car salesman.
For a hiccup. For a hiccup.
Yeah, meets up with them, but the guy's
I sneeze
actually
longer
like
than you
this,
sell cars.
The guy's still
like
this
a web
nice,
designer.
flawed character. He's still a really flawed character, and he meets up with them again, and then realizes like, oh, this guy's such an arrogant prick, and then almost out of spite starts a karate dojo, which kind of sets off for some interesting shenanigans, which I thought was actually really well set up.
I'm not even remotely interested. I watched a couple
James,
episodes.
Tell me why you
I wasn't really all that interested either, and then I was like bored, and I watched the first couple episodes, and I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of like this show.
I'll be darned. Okay, well.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't what I was expecting, which was all campy bullshit, and basically what Ryan was just saying is, the member berries of, do you remember this and this? And it really wasn't that. And that's what I enjoyed about it, was the fact that it's not all remember this and that and all this. There is that, of course. There's the, a little bit of reminiscence of Miyagi and some movie clips every so often for basically people who were not born in the 80s and basically watched the movie just by osmosis. But yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed it. I was just wondering if you guys ever watched it. I was not a big Karate Kid fan, honestly. I mean, there was some good parts of it, but
just waiting
really
for somebody like you to tell me it was worth least a view. I mean, when I'm bored to death, at least now I'll click on the icon. But.
Yeah, I mean, when you're bored to death, yeah.
This is gonna date me right now, but when I was working at Blockbuster, I was 18. It was like my first job.
Yeah, your mom called me about that job and told me, thanks for being in Ryan's life. He got a job. I'm not kidding.
I know you're not. I know she would have done that. But God damn it, John, with your fucking drops made me lose my train of thought.
Okay, go ahead. Blockbuster's first job. Go ahead.
When I was working at Blockbuster, I was standing there at the counter, and this guy comes walking up, and he's holding a VHS tape. This is back in the 1900s. And the guy was holding a VHS tape, and he's holding it about eye level, and he's holding it at arm's length in front of him, standing right in front of him, and he's staring at me. And he would look at me, I would look at the box, and he'd look back at me, and he'd look back at the box. And finally, after like 10 seconds, he's just like, do you realize you look exactly like the Karate Kid?
Oh, shit.
When I was 18, if you looked at the cover box of fucking Karate Kid, that is exactly what I looked like at 18 years old. The guy turned the box around.
Did you tell him? Didn't you tell him you were? Yes, absolutely. That's me. That's the whole reason I'm working here at Blockbusters. It was that great a hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I already burned through that Outsiders money, so here I am, you know?
Yeah, already, right. I don't have a career any longer in Hollywood, so I'm sitting here working.
You know that Karate Kid 2 money? Right up the nose, buddy.
You should have said, nah, Saya was the star of Karate Kid #4.
Oh, Lord, that'd been...
Yeah.
You could have had so much fun with that guy.
Jackie Chan version of Karate Kid.
I
was just shocked on how much he was right, because he...
Yeah.
You know, look, I don't spend a lot of time staring at myself, but he turned the box around. I'm like, oh, shit, man, you're right.
Actually, Karate Kid #4 was starring Hilary Swank.
Right. I got the joke.
James didn't.
I was ignoring you.
Well, I think that's pretty damn cool. Of course, you didn't realize at the time. Now you're just waiting for the second person to walk in to say that, so you could have played off of it.
All you
have
to do is gain a little bit more weight, and you may look like him now.
Well, I'd have to shave, and that's not going to happen. It's simply not happening.
So somebody at work said the beard is the push-up bra for men.
Yeah. I mean, dude, God damn if that's not true.
Wow, and Rob just trimmed his.
Yeah, I just hacked. Yeah, I did. I hacked most of it off. Well, now I'm going to have to wait for it to grow back.
So did you guys hear that Peanut Butter's Cup, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, is going to be releasing a new type with chips in it?
Go ahead.
With chips?
With
chips?
Potato chips, yes.
Potato chips.
That's gross.
So it'll be peanut butter, chocolate, and potato chips. So it's like a salted chocolate with a crunch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I could go for that.
But the thing is Peanut Butter Cup already has salt in it with the peanut butter.
Oh, so.
But I was reading reviews on people that have tried it. They're saying that it's really good. They want more chips in it, though.
That just sounds gross.
So not enough
that's
chip.
Where I'm at.
It's stunt food.
I'm thinking it's like fair food is what it kind of seems like to me. It's like, okay, you're just gonna make something.
I'd rather have that gigantic turkey leg instead of that. If I'm going to walk around in fair food, give me funnel cake.
Hey, you know what? Before we end this thing, I'm going to get off your food for a second. Did anybody watch the Emmys?
Nope, I refuse to watch any of them.
Yeah, none of us. I watched the first 10 minutes and thought it was so bad that I couldn't go any further.
Which was the one with Ricky Gervais?
Oh.
That was the Oscars last year.
Because anytime he's hosting any event, I watch just because at least it's going to be amusing.
Was fantastic.
Oh my God, that guy burned it to the ground. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. I watched it from cover to cover, so to speak, and he was fantastic.
He did it solely for he would never be asked back.
And that's what he was said the whole time. He says, this will be the last freaking time I'll ever be asked to do this. And he goes on. Oh,
man, but it was just, I mean, to the shock and awe of everybody. I mean, like, there was a few people that kind of got what he was doing and were taking it with a grain of salt.
Right. Yeah.
But the amount of people that thought he was like joking, oh, this is some elaborate joke that he's doing, slowly realizing, oh my God, this guy's dead fucking serious.
My favorite reaction was Tom Hanks.
And he was drinking through the whole thing too. And it wasn't, I mean, he was, by the time the show was over, he was plastered and didn't care what he said. Even though he didn't care when he started, right?
During it, you guys got to watch it back and look at Tom Hanks's reaction, because he does this kind of his puffs up his cheeks and goes,
yeah, it was very much just like, okay, he's gonna just keep doing this. Yep. Okay, all right, Ricky.
You sunk my battleship.
Yep, it was fantastic. Best Oscars ever.
Yeah, I have not bothered with the Oscars since like 2001, 2000.
I
think
it was 01, 02.
I think the internet
Ryan and John both know, because they know which Oscars I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I kind of miss the mystique of celebrity, because I think the internet kind of killed it when I was interested not only in the movie but in the celebrities, and now you get to kind of know them and you realize most of them are vacuous assholes, and that it just doesn't interest me. I mean, there's some legitimate people I think are kind of cool, what you hear about them personally, but generally, I don't really give a damn. And what the Oscars and what all these other award shows they usually pick are most of the time aren't the ones I thought deserved it.
Well, here's the problem. I think many people would agree with me. You watch the Oscars, the best movie pictures or the best supporting actor or whatever it may be, and they say the name of the movie and you kind of go, I never saw that movie. Yeah, I never saw that movie. What are you talking about? What was it called? And you'd have to look it up to try to figure out what they're talking about. And it was so obscure. So many of these things that won, movies that won, and some of the actors that won, you're kind of going, what?
Who's that?
Yeah, well, that's where me and James kind of drew the line when Russell Crowe lost out to, I think it was, what movie did he lose out to? That's right. So Russell Crowe.
Beautiful Mind versus Training Day.
I'm sorry. Now, okay, hold on a second. Beautiful Mind won Best Picture, but Russell Crowe got flat out fucking snubbed with losing Best Actor, which drove me up a goddamn wall.
Yep.
Well, I guess nobody ever said it was fair, huh?
But that was, granted, that was the Oscars.
That's a joke. The Oscars are a joke as far as I'm concerned.
What it is
but that was the Oscars where most of the people who won were black nominated. So a lot of the people who won Oscars that year were African American. Now, I have no problem with that. My problem was the fact of whether or not it was based on their performance.
Well,
that's where my big thing
I think that's going to be the question going forward with a number of the award shows, because unfortunately we don't reward just pure talent anymore. It has to be maybe that people are looking for a deeper meaning or deeper message, but we're talking movies here. We're not talking real life, right?
Exactly.
And so I don't know. It'll be what it'll be. I can't come from. I'm an old white guy. All right, I'm an old white Jew. So I'm coming from a different point of view at this rate.
The only thing I could say is if you're looking for deeper meaning in movies, go read a book. Go see a fucking play. Go see something. Yeah. Go see something that doesn't.
Movies, John.
Go see something that doesn't have $100 million backing that may actually. You want to read a really good book that has some pretty good plot twists. Read the County Monte Cristo, the actual motherfucking book. Read something that actually has meaning behind it, besides some sort of vacuous Hollywood nonsense.
You do realize the original book was not in English?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but do yourself a favor and suffer through the non-abridged version.
Yeah, read the English. Go to projectgutenberg.com, find the English translation and read it. You can find it for fucking free. Read Three Musketeers. Read, I don't know, anything. Just
read.
Because you're never going to find a whole lot of deep meaning out of something that's done by a group of people. And that's what movies are.
Well, look, I agree and disagree. I think that you will find much more room for the depth of books is different. But there's a lot that can be stated for a visual medium along with that that scripted storytelling. You know, you infer a lot just as a person witnessing another person go through the motions of something. You know?
I think that the issue is the fact that films are generally done by committee, and versus a book,
right,
that
which is not always a bad thing if you have the right committee.
Yeah, I think, and we got to go because we're over time, but I think what it does is I think it limits the vision versus if you have a single author who puts their thoughts, no matter what it is, onto page, I think you can get deeper meaning than something that's done by committee. And I agree.
And I think that's why the best movies are literary adaptations.
100%
because
agree.
there is that singular vision that everyone is sort of on board with trying to fulfill.
100% agree, and it may not be the greatest rendition. I know Christopher Tolkien really hated Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, but it was.
Well, he can suck a dick. Those movies were great.
Well, he's dead now.
Terrible.
Yeah,
but
he's not going to be doing much of anything.
But I was going to say it was Peter Jackson's interpretation of Lord of the Rings. At least it was. There was a vision and focus, and so unfortunately, I'd love to talk more about this, but we are hit a time limit. So, old guy,
hey, have
Gunroll travel. I mean, come on.
Have safe journeys and
You're
be careful
listening
out there.
to the Rob Char.
That's right.
So
And
James,
lawyers, guns, and money.
James,
Hope to have a live version of the show coming out soon.
Right.
And also for all you guys out there listening, maybe we'll even do a live version of the MadTrio at some point in time. And we're trying to get the kinks worked out on that. Who knows? Maybe we can get some callers calling in with, "We hate you. Why am I listening to you?" type thing.
I'll have to call her and make sure she's up. James, any final thoughts?
Yeah, okay.
I guess not.
Crickets. Where's the crickets?
Ryan, do you have any final thoughts, Ryan?
There you go.
Nope.
All right, do your ending.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, for the old guy, for Ryan, and the James, who never ever
Now
has
we
any
forgot
final
their
thoughts.
names,
I'm just I'm going through the motions at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, for the MadTrio, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.